First and foremost, guys, there's a quick disclaimer. This is not a feedback piece or anything of the sorts. It's just about my WoW Classic story, basically, and why I'm not playing anymore. Also, I don't have Shadowlands beta, so I wish I had it, so I could make some content about that, but I don't have it at the moment, so... I'm gonna tell you guys this little story, and tell me please if you like this kind of content. It's more of a ramble, it's less of a scripted guide. So if you enjoy this, please let me know. So to get this story started, I first have to explain to you what happened beforehand and what I was doing at the time. I've been a live streamer slash content creator for a while now, but obviously on and off, and not always full time. So at that time, when they actually released the release date, they announced the release date for WoW Classic, I was actually working a full-time job. So I learned about this release date and I wanted to prepare for it the best way possible. So I scoured through pages and pages and pages of Wowhead and old Thoughtbot forum posts, even old WoW forum posts, armories, so on and so forth. Ended up playing multiple private servers just so I could get as much information out of the game before playing it, before it actually releasing. And I ended up writing out 2 goals to myself. Goal number 1 was making a competitive guild, and goal number 2 was becoming a competitive enhancement shaman, which includes getting the first legendary weapon I would ever get, which is Sulfuras. I've never had a legendary before in WoW that was actually, you know, at that patch, actually, you know, viable. So I wanted to get those 2 things done. First was making a guild, which ended up working out fairly well because I was lucky knowing a lot of people that were a lot more experienced than I was in making the guild and also in WoW in general. So we made a fairly competitive guild early on already and had a full roster before the game even launched. Fast forward to launch. This is around a 6-month time frame of preparation. And I ended up picking Enhanced Shaman, as you guys already know. I always play Enhanced Shaman. So release comes around and we all push as hard as we can to reach level 60 as early as possible. So we have a chance at killing Ragnaros and the second lockout. So around 9 days in, we have 20 people ready to go do Molten Core. Which is obviously not enough. So we ended up teaming up with 2 different groups of people that also wanted to do Molten Core and were already set up to, you know, go for the round first. Unfortunately, a day before this, a different guild had already taken over and killed Ragnaros, which was around 24 hours before we ended up going into Molten Core. Actually, a little bit less than that. But there was one big factor that made us want to push even harder, and that was that they didn't log it. So officially, no one had the server first yet, at least not on paper. So we started pushing. There was another guild actually also pushing at the exact same time, which you can see on Warcraft logs. We only have Realm First on Major Domo and Rag. So obviously we end up killing Rag after a long night, and we end up getting Realm First, Ragnaros and Major Domo. Which is huge. For me at the time, that was completely unthinkable as some noob that has never really played Classic before, being a guild master. And at that time, to be fair, we had 2 guild masters. One was a good friend of mine that knew more about this than me, and obviously me. So that definitely helped a lot. But it was a huge accomplishment for me, and I thought that was great. I had the time of my life, honestly. Now after that, it grew a little, you know, a little slower the entire game, because we knew that we had a good roster now. We actually recruited a lot of new people, and our 40-man roster was complete. So at that point, it was just basically grinding gold, fucking around in Stranglethorn, and waiting for raids and gear. Around 3 weeks in, which was still long before, like 3 weeks after we killed Ragnaros for the first time, which was still long before the phase 2 ranked grind. We introduced a new sign-up system to our Discord server to, you know, make it easier to sign up so we know better who's signing up and who isn't. Problem was, we split the sign-up between Onyxia and Molten Core, and I didn't realize that until raid day. So I ended up just having signed up for Onyxia, and my co-guildmaster at the time asked me why I didn't sign up for Molten Core, so I had to double check, and it turned out that I didn't sign up for Molten Core. The problem was, we already had over 40 signups for Molten Core. So there were I got two choices here. Either I kick someone out of the group, so I can be a part of it since I'm the guildmaster, or I just bench myself for the day because I'm an idiot. That's what I ended up doing. So I benched myself and said, yeah, that was my bad. I take that. You guys go raid and good luck on your gear. I ended up just being on the bench, so I was already logged in, no queue timer. So if they actually needed a healer, I would be there. So they basically clear the raid very, very quickly, very smoothly, and end up at Ragnaros. I was watching one of our officers, stream the entire event, the entire raid. So I was basically watching the entire time. And obviously know where this is going at this point. Anyways. They end up killing Ragnaros, and I just hear someone scream at the back, something along the lines of, what the fuck? There's no way that actually dropped. So I see my officer walk up to the body, loot it, and there it was. The eye of Sulphurus, the hand of Rag right in front of my eyes. And I wasn't there. And what makes it even worse, no one was there that actually needed it. It ended up being rolled off to a warrior that actually never completed the weapon. Because why would you? It's far too much money for something that you will replace pretty soon anyway. So I was in complete shock at that point, and I felt like 6 months of work that I put into this were kind of gone. And I just couldn't look at the game anymore. I really couldn't. I felt like I betrayed myself and I let myself down, because at the end of the day, it was all my mistake. Plenty of people would have easily swapped with me just for Ragnaros at the end. Because they didn't need any loot from him. But I didn't even think of that possibility. I didn't even think that Sulphurus would drop. I didn't think that was a possibility. That one day that I'm not showing up, it would drop. So I left the guild, and honestly I left it in really good hands too. I quit my Discord server that I made over 6 months ago, and I quit the game. I came back a little bit later, but maybe for a week or so. I just didn't feel like playing anymore. And you know what? It was just an item. It was just an item. It was just. But to me, it was much more than that. For me, it reflected 6 months of work. For me, it reflected kind of, and represented my inability to show up when it mattered. I know that sounds a little bit hyperbolic, but that's really how it felt. Because at the end of the day, it was all my fault that I didn't get it. And I'll hit you with another quick fun fact before I leave. Off the day of this recording, they have not seen a second one. And this was 9 to 10 months ago. So it never dropped again. We even had 2 raid setups at a time at some point. It never dropped again. So I think it was the right decision, and I also think I will probably not come back to it. I hope that Shadowlands will be great, and I hope that maybe eventually we'll get TBC as well. But honestly, at this point, I'm probably the most excited about Shadowlands, although you can already see a couple of issues with it. With that being said, I know this has been a pretty long ramble, and to sum it up, I stopped playing because I didn't show up to one raid because of my own mistake, and that was the only time the Eye of Ragnaros would ever drop. The Eye of Sulphurus. The Hand of Rag. The golden ticket to Willy Wonka's factory. Thank you guys for watching. If you've made it this far, please make sure to leave a comment down below and tell me if you like this or not, or if you would see more of the story type content, or if you would see more of the guide type content, which I'd probably do both anyway. But I would love to hear your feedback, and since this is something that I've never done before, I've never done a story time on YouTube, so this is new to me. Any degree of feedback is much appreciated. Thank you very much, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.